Take 65. The last time that I was able to participate in a Steemit challenge, I really enjoyed it because I always enjoy having questions posed to me because it challenges me to find answers. You know, when I sit down and I create a theme, it's easy for me to know what it is that I'm going to talk about because I'm the one that's creating the theme. And I usually create those themes in advance, so I have time to think things through. But when it's someone else who's posing a question, it really challenges me to dig deep within myself to find an answer that is interesting, useful, and hopefully something original. And if not original, at least sincere and honest on my part. So the Steemit team has set another challenge, and it's timely. I mean, this was an excellent idea, and I'm really looking forward to sharing in this experience. And since my last challenge was accepted in audio form, I had mentioned it before, I will be doing this more often whenever the challenge captures my attention. And how can this challenge not capture anyone's attention? I mean, this is the topic of the moment. I had a look in the TRX integration tag, and there are dozens and dozens of posts written in all kinds of languages by all kinds of familiar Steemians, and this is only the first day. I mean, we have days to go, so a lot of interesting things are being written. These were really interesting questions, and my compliments to the Steemit team, because doing a challenge like this means that you're going to get all kinds of much needed and very relevant feedback from the community. So I once again hope that my entry will be accepted as part of the challenge, because it is not a written post, but it is still an original expression, original content. I guarantee you that there are more than 400 words that will be expressed here. And yes, I'm following all the rules of the challenge. And I would like to get right into it. So Tron and Steemit Integration Celebration Challenge, posted by the Steemit blog. If you are not familiar with this, the link is there. It's available to you. You can go and participate and share your insights with the Steemit team and with the Steemit community about what's happening now with the Tron and Steemit integration into the wallet. We now have the TRX. So I'm going to calmly go through some of these questions. Actually, I'm going to go through all of them because I really like them and they really stimulate me. So let us begin. What do you think of the integration of Steemit and the Tron ecosystem? I have been in favor of it since day one. Anyone who has followed the Tino take has known and will know. And if you're not, you can go back and check the archives from before the moment that the Tino take was even invented. My first post on the issue was, why demonize Justin Sun? I mean, when I came out of a little small hiatus that I went through, I came out and I found out that the Steemit company had been bought by Justin Sun, a successful entrepreneur, the founder of the Tron blockchain, which is also a delegated proof of stake blockchain. So I was really excited. I said, this is excellent. This is exactly what we need. We need a dynamic, aggressive presence. Now, those of you who may have followed through the gene codes as I went through a lot of my Tino takes, I talked about human nature. I talked about my reasoning and my understanding through human nature of why the Steemit app and the Steem blockchain was so stagnated, why it fell victim to the founder's trap, why Ned Scott was not able to go further than what he was able to do, and why Dan Larimer went on to do his thing with EOS. I mean, Dan Larimer is just that way. It's not like he had any intentions to stick around with Steemit, but he did express his disappointment of what had happened. Now, what I injected into the conversation was the idea that every system, in order for it to evolve, to reach a greater scale, needs the presence of what is known as a dynamic aggressive, something that the Steemit system, the Steemit company, never had until Justin Sun stepped in and injected that kind of energy. Now, when it first took place, I saw myself before a fork in the road and said to myself, there are one of two options here. Either this entrepreneur is stepping in because he sees a profitable moment in which he can buy and sell. So that means that he would buy the company and then sell it, buy the company at a very low price, a very good price, but low, nevertheless low. Because you can do that when you have a lot of money. You can say, listen, I will give you such amount, discounted, and you give me what I want. And when you have a large amount, then you can really set the deal at the table. So the option was to buy and sell. In other words, buy at a low price and resell at a higher price, and you walk away with your profit. The other avenue, which I saw, was that Justin Sun saw something, the Tron Foundation saw something in Steem and in Steemit. Now, that seems pretty obvious to me because the Tron blockchain was very strongly inspired by the Steem blockchain. You have 3-second blocks. You have a sort of a representation, like we have consensus witnesses. They have super representatives, and the inspiration for the Tron blockchain was strongly influenced by the Steem blockchain, delegated proof of stake. So my thought was that, no, this is something that Justin Sun sees as an opportunity to help it grow, to see a visionary view of where Steemit can go. One, because this is my personal opinion, my personal belief, because Steemit is very original. And as an app, as a social media app built on a blockchain, I believe that Justin Sun and the Tron Foundation realized that they cannot do that on the Tron blockchain because we have our unique quality of having no transaction fees and 3-second transactions, which is important if you're going to have a communication system and you want to post, you want to comment, you want to vote as close to real time as possible. And we have that. The Tron blockchain cannot handle that, in my opinion, the way that it is structured at the moment. You have fees for nearly everything that you do. You have energy that you have bandwidth, you have all of these things that completely block or impede someone from creating a social media app on that blockchain. So why not add another delegated proof of stake to your collection? I mean, it was a wise, it continues to be a wise decision. So what do you think of the integration of Steemit and the Tron ecosystem? I was not expecting this, so I'm very caught off guard. I'm very excited. It's very interesting the way that it was finally decided upon. How will we give Steemians TRX? And now we have seen that we will be receiving TRX in 1-to-1 proportion to the amount of Steem power that we are rewarded for our posts and our comments. That is amazing. I mean, I'm already getting more Tron tokens than I've ever gotten with any other endeavor that I've had on the Tron blockchain, because I've dipped and dabbled into certain things, and unfortunately I came out not really liking the system because it's not something that interests me. I mean, there's a lot of gambling, there's a lot of high risk, there's a lot of exit scams. So these are things that are not really interesting to me. But the way that it's being incorporated into the Steemit system, I can see that Steemians are really excited about that. I think it's a wonderful idea because this ties into what I've talked about in the past when I've talked about the trickle-up ecosystem. Now, not that this is a trickle-up ecosystem, but the reasoning for a trickle-up ecosystem that I had talked about is the idea that we need to bring other cryptocurrencies into the Steemit system. This brings different value into the system. I had proposed Dogecoin, but also, my system could have worked with Litecoin or any other cryptocurrency. So the idea that TRX is now coming into the Steem system, the Steemit app, means that we have a different type of capital that's coming into the system. That is a positive. Point blank. There is no downside to that. So this integration and the way that it was done and the way that it is being done is extremely, extremely positive, extremely exciting, revolutionary, and it renders all other blockchains who are attempting to do what Steemit is doing obsolete. You are all obsolete. Forget about it. Let it go. Come back to Steemit. Because this is where the interesting things are happening, have been happening, and are going to happen. Let's move on to the next question. Do you think this TRX integration will bring more Tron users to Steemit? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no question about that. There shouldn't even be a question mark at the end of this question. This should be a rhetorical question. Yes, this is definitely going to bring Tron users to Steemit. As I've mentioned already, Tron has failed to create a social media app. D-Like, in fact, was created by a Steemian, and that's failing as well. The Tron system is not oriented towards being able to create social media apps because, one simple factor. If I have to pay to leave a comment, then forget it. I'm going to stay at Steem. You have too many fees on the Steem blockchain, and Steemit is much more. It's a much more simplified system. So I do believe that a lot of Tron users are going to come in for the simple fact. This is one simple, very basic fact here. There's Tron. There is TRX being distributed to people who participate in the system. A lot of Tronians are reward chasers just as much as a vast majority of Steemians are. You have a lot of these gambling sites, a lot of these high-risk sites, a lot of these so-called game sites, which are really exit scams that are created within the Tron system because people love the idea of being able to go in and chase tokens, chase cryptocurrency. So now the idea for Tronians out there, to know that there is a social media app built on a blockchain that will reward you in TRX. Oh yes, we are definitely going to have a lot of Tronians coming into the Steemit system. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, there's two sides to that coin. But I'll go on to the next question, and maybe as I go through some of these questions, I will come back to that because it's an issue that needs to be raised. It's an issue that needs to be addressed. It's something that I've already talked about in the past, especially when the D-Like thing was going on, and especially when there was first whispers going around about the integration of TRX into our wallet. This is not new. This is an exciting bombshell because it's actually happening now. It's realized, it's actualized, it's manifested. So we're all excited, but a lot of us have already known because we have heard that this was coming along. So let me look at the next question. Will this addition of TRX to the rewards encourage more people to join Steem? Yes. Yes. Just this is a follow along from the last question. For the simple fact that many people have come to Steem for the crypto. So to know now that Steem is offering another crypto, now you have two cryptos, that's going to encourage more people. Especially people who are already familiar with the Tron system, are familiar with the TRX. Again, the idea that you will be coming into a social media platform, a social media network, and you will potentially be able to receive rewards for your interactions, for your activity in a social media setting is really exciting. It draws a lot of attention. And it will cause a lot of Tronians to want to really get involved and want to understand what the Steem system is all about, what the Steem token is all about. I think the TRX rewards will also encourage people to stake their Steem. So not only will people come into the system, not only will people join Steem, but people will start start to invest in steam power, which is probably the most exciting part of this entire system. Now, how can you personally use this news to promote Steem and invite people to join the platform? Again, it's the idea that at the moment, the most promising aspect of getting people to come onto the platform is the idea that you can earn cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are becoming more and more popular. We all know that. Bitcoin is shooting through the roof, and it still has a long way to go upwards. And so more and more people are going to be getting interested in the cryptocurrency movement that has been going on for a while, but it's becoming a little bit more popularized now because the price of Bitcoin is now unavoidable, undeniable. And so it's going to capture more and more attention. So inviting people to a platform where they can learn about cryptocurrencies and earn cryptocurrencies, gain rewards in cryptocurrencies, is probably the easiest way to promote Steem. Because Steemit has always been promoted in that way. Come to our social media app, use it and earn crypto. Have your posts and have your comments be valued with a system that has a monetization behind it. An incentive-based social media system is what we are, quote unquote, selling to other people who are on other social media platforms, and as well as offering them the idea and the possibility of not being censored, something that is still kind of up in the air. I can confidently say that I have never been censored on Steemit. I post up things that are controversial. I post up things that you can't even post up on other social media platforms. I post up material from people who have been deplatformed from other platforms. So the question of censorship is not a problem at the moment, and so it's another strong selling point. Now, how can you optimize the amount of TRX you earn? Well, it's obvious in the instructions, the tutorial that was put out by the Steemit team, by the Steemit blog. You simply have to focus more of your attention on setting your power up 100%. When you write your post, at the bottom you have an option to gain 50-50, that 50% of your rewards be distributed as steam power, and the other 50% be distributed as liquid tokens, which can be either in the form of the Steem dollar or the Steem token itself. Now that's a formula that is dependent upon the price of Steem and all kinds of other factors. But the fact of the matter is that now the TRX that is being earned by Steemians is being earned based on the amount of steam power that you gain when a post or a comment reaches its maturation, which is after 7 days, and therefore you can claim your rewards and you will get matched 1-to-1 your steam power and TRX. And again, I mentioned it earlier, I'm already gaining more TRX than I've gained in any other endeavor that I have participated in on the Steem blockchain. Now, final question here. What will you do with the TRX you earn on Steem? Now we get to the really important question. We get to the really important subject. We get to the where we are at the moment and where shall we go from here. Steemians, what are you going to do with your TRX? I mean, great. We got TRX now. You can sell it. You can freeze it. You can send it to someone else. Who knows? Before long, we will certainly begin to see bid bots who will allow you to pay for upvotes in TRX. You may want to use it as a reward for a contest. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with the TRX within the Steemit system. See, we Steemians already know how to use tokens within the system. Now, for Tronians coming into this system, or for people who want to begin to participate, Steemians who want to begin to participate or learn more about the Tron system, that's where it gets a little bit, let's see, what's the word? Boring, perhaps? You see, with the TRX at the moment, it's not really an influence token. So we don't really have a Tron power. It doesn't really matter how many TRX you have staked or frozen in the case of the Tron blockchain. What we refer to as staking, Tronians use the term freezing. Now, it's still a little bit different because you have some other factors that you have to factor in. We have consensus witnesses. The Tron Foundation has super representatives, which have pretty much the same function as our Steem consensus witnesses, which they run nodes and they make sure that blocks are signed off and all of that. Now, the thing is, however, at the moment, TRX is basically something that you can either let it sit and gain some annual percentage on it, or you can sell it, or you can use your TRX to go and participate in other Tron related apps, because it's basically the same function. It's the actual TRX token. Once you set up your Tron wallet, you can send your TRX out wherever. Send it to an app, send it to a gambling site, send it to a high risk site, send it to an exchange, and sell it for Bitcoin, Litecoin. These are the basic things that you can do with your TRX. Again, you can freeze it and gain an annual percentage. Now, you can also freeze it and use those frozen tokens, which is the same as staked tokens, to vote on super representatives. Like we vote on consensus witnesses here on the Steem blockchain, you can use your TRX to vote for super representatives on the Tron blockchain. Now, why do I see that as something at the moment that people won't be really interested in? Well, first of all, a lot of Steemians really don't know what consensus witnesses are. They really don't know what the blockchain is really all about. So it's already something that a lot of people don't find, they don't interest themselves too much in choosing consensus witnesses here on the Steem blockchain. Then if you don't have that interest here, you're not going to have much of an interest to do it on the Tron blockchain. However, for those who are interested and who want to understand how the system is influenced and who you should vote on in order to have the influence, then you would have the same thing that you have here on Steem, you would have on the Tron blockchain. Now, let me simplify that down. We Steemians choose the consensus witnesses. At the moment, we don't have that much power to really change them because it is the Steemit company and the Tron Foundation who are essentially controlling the top 20 consensus witnesses plus the 21st, which is an alternating witness. Now, those witnesses are very important because they are the guardians of the code. They can change code. They can create hard forks. Now, they have to do that in a consensus style, in a consensus way. They have to agree upon the code, and you have to have a significant number of people who are all running the same code so that the system continues to go forward. Now, we don't really have a lot going on with that. Ever since there's been this change, there hasn't been much discussion as to what's going to be the next hard fork. What are our consensus witnesses up to? What are they thinking about changing? What is the community asking for? There's not much of this going on. So consensus witnesses at the moment are not really an issue here on Steem. And so Steemians won't really find it interesting to take part in a voting system on the Tron blockchain because we haven't really gotten interested here in the Steem blockchain. So freezing your TRX in order to vote on super representatives is really going to be a hard task for people to get their minds into. It's going to be a hard task for us Steemians to be able to bring the subject to the table. And it will be difficult for Tronians who may be super representatives or who may be spokespersons for super representatives to come into the Steemit system and say, hey, Steemians, could you please vote for me as a super representative because of this, this, and this? Because Steemians are already not really that interested in the process here. They're going to find it even less interesting and more complicated in the Tron system. So for the moment, I believe that the freezing of TRX for the purpose of voting upon super representatives is not attractive. Steemians are really not going to find that interesting. So I don't know what other purpose the TRX, other than people who are crypto enthusiasts and they want to just sell off their TRX. And in having said that, what came to mind for me is the incentivizing. This is a message that goes out to anyone who is able to speak with the development team, speak with the Tron Foundation, speak with Justin Sun, or whoever at the moment is involved in what will be the next steps for what we do with this TRX. Now, within the Steemit system, we know it is important to create steam power, to encourage people to stake their coins and not sell them off, because that's what helps to create value. Now, this TRX move that you are being rewarded based upon the steam power that you get rewarded on your post once your post or your comments mature in the 7-day period. Very clever move. Very, very clever move, because now this creates, and this ties in, my goodness, the timing is, I didn't know this was coming, but you know, it's amazing how synchronicities work sometimes. Now, because I've been trying to strongly encourage our country representative for Italy to start rewarding people in steam power by creating a post on a winner. See, we have a contest going on in the Italy community at the moment, and I'm trying to encourage them to announce the winner, the 5 winners at the end of the week. Set the post to 100% power. Set the post to power up 100%, and the winner be selected and set as the beneficiary 100%. Now, this, I believe, now with this integration of the TRX, we now have a possibility of double rewarding people. We have the possibility of creating more value in steam power. You see, because now people are going to start setting power up because they want to get that TRX. And that is a very clever idea. It's a very clever move. And why do I say that? Well, think about it and pay attention to what I'm about to say. Steam power is the assurance that your steam is not going to be used to be sold off. See, when you hold on to something, in a certain extent, you're creating scarcity of the liquidity. So the more people have steam power, the less steam and steam dollars go into circulation. The less steam and steam dollars go into circulation, the more valuable they become, because we have them all tied into steam power. You understand the significance and the importance of powering up? Because that takes liquid steam out of the system and creates scarcity for that token, whether it be the steam dollar or the steam token itself. That will cause the value to go up, because people who will get interested in the system will find that there is not as much steam available, because a lot of it is tied up into steam power. That's a positive. That's a plus. That's a bonus. That's something that the Tron Foundation should be looking to do also within the Steem system. You see, asking Steemians, as I just pointed out, to freeze their TRX in order to vote upon super representatives is not going to gain traction. At the moment, that is not going to gain traction. Steemians are still not that concerned with the consensus witnesses and the voting system that we have to create our representatives here. So they're not going to really be interested in doing that in the Tron system. So how can we incentivize Steemians or Tronians who come into the Steem system and become Steemians to freeze their TRX? Because for the same reason that we would be asking you to stake, power up your Steem, convert your Steem dollars into Steem, and then power it up and get your Steem power, so we can hold that there. We can take that out of the market and create scarcity, which can hopefully bring up the value. I'm not really for all of these things, but I understand the economic aspect of this. And when I have an idea, I like to share an idea, even if I'm against it, because I don't believe we should be creating scarcity in this context. I think we should be creating abundance so that more and more people come in. But that's another issue. I'm looking at I'm looking at the positive aspect of what's happening now with TRX coming into the Steem system and rewarding people for Steem power. That's creating more value for Steem power. People will want to have more Steem power now because they see more value in it, because they say, if I have my post set to 100% power up, I will get Steem power and I will also get TRX. I will get Tron tokens. That creates a lot of value in Steem power. Now, how do we do the same thing for TRX? Well, not by creating the option of voting upon super representatives, because Steemians are not going to be that interested in that. So this is what I would like to propose, and whoever can pass this on, please do so. I believe that the excitement that people have for now getting TRX tokens is going to be very, very welcomed. Very, very influential, and I believe a lot of people, I'm certainly one of them, are going to start setting their posts to 100% power up so that we can get more Steem power. Having more Steem power creates a system in which the influence token then becomes more relevant to a lot of people, because they're not just looking to run off with the tokens. They're looking to create Steem power, and once you create Steem power, then you have influence upon the people that you are voting. So how do we create an incentive for Steemians or even Tronians to freeze, but more Steemians than Tronians, because Tronians may already know the value of freezing their tokens. And I have thought of this. It's very simple. I don't want to complicate things, and I don't want to drag on. I've already gone beyond 30 minutes. I think we can start to end this here. Very, very simple. For every 1,000 Steem, for every 1,000 TRX that you freeze, you increment the ratio by 0.1. So in other words, at the moment, for every Steem power that you earn on a post, you get 1 TRX. There is a 1-to-1 ratio. If a Steemian freezes 1,000 TRX, then you increment that. You increase that by 0.1. So when you have a post that pays out Steem power, you would have a 1-to-1.1 ratio. In other words, you will earn more TRX if you freeze TRX. So if you freeze 2,000 TRX, then you will get 1-to-1.2. If you freeze 5,000 TRX, 1-to-1.5. So in other words, the more TRX that you freeze, the more the ratio will increase slowly as you hold more TRX frozen. Now, that's just my idea. I realize that that would create a coding issue. That's something that developers would have to get into. It's not something that you can easily just implement tomorrow. But it's the idea of facing the question, how can we get Steemians, encourage Steemians, now that we have a way to encourage Steemians to stake their Steem, how can we now encourage Steemians to stake their TRX or freeze their TRX? And I've thought that this would be an interesting idea by changing the ratio based on the amount of TRX that you freeze. And for every 1,000, you gain 0.1 on your ratio for as long as you continue to stake more and more TRX. Then afterwards, once people start to stake a lot of TRX, we can start talking about issues. And after we get Steemians involved in the voting system for the consensus witnesses, we can then talk about how Steemians can influence the Tron system by being able to vote on super representatives, and then have those super representatives and their communities, because a lot of these super representatives have communities. They can come into the Steemit system and start building up a communication system, because we are a social media system. We have the platform to be able to communicate with one another, get to know one another, and offer up our services, offer up who we are in exchange for followers, in exchange for other services. And this would be a positive if we can get more Steemians involved in the governance system, the voting system, and in talking about how can we better improve the code, because this is what super representatives and this is what consensus witnesses do. So that's my idea for incentivizing Steemians to freeze their TRX. Personally, that's what I'm going to do. I don't see anything in the Tron system that really interests me as far as apps are concerned. I'm not into gambling. I'm not into high risk. And I'm not into a lot of the things that are going on the Tron blockchain. So I will be looking towards a future in which the TRX will have a value within the Steemit system. So we can look for ways to try to make it into a co-influence token as well. And I think that is probably one of the best ways to incentivize people to freeze their TRX. Listen, that was fun as always, just like the last time. I really like these challenges. I really appreciate that the Steemit team included me last time. I hope that they'll include me this time. And I hope that you enjoyed what I have shared. I hope that it stimulated you to be able to come up with your own answers to these questions. Sometimes we see a question, we don't really know how to approach it, but when we hear someone else give their answer, then we kind of start to formulate our own idea, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. What's important is that you put forward your own idea and your own inspiration and your own insight. So until the next Tino Take, I'm always very grateful for those of you who are supporting me, and I'm always very grateful for anyone who has taken the time to listen. Thank you very much. We'll see each other on the next take.